Before coming to Korea, your preconceptions, what were you expecting? I'm curious how that's different from actually living here.
I am half Japanese, so when I arrived there as a student a couple years ago, I was kind of like trying to find the little thing, oh, Japan is better for this, and I was really trying to find a way to dislike Korea, to say, oh, Japan is better for that, and it's better for that, oh, 7-Eleven, oh, we have the same in Japan and everything. And actually, the more I stayed here, the more I realized that, actually things are nicer here. The cafe culture, the streets, vibe and everything. So,
hey guys, how's it going? It's Sean. So in this video, we hit the streets of Seoul, here in Hongdae and in Sinchon, asking foreigners living here and traveling here, what are some preconceptions they had before coming to Korea? Things they saw in dramas, Googled, things they heard from friends, and how do these preconceptions actually compare to being here? Also, if you guys are currently studying English and you want a structured way to learn, I recently launched my course, 미국인 전에 살아있는 영어. If you're interested, wait till the end of the video and I'll give you more information. Without further ado, let's begin. Hey guys, what's going on? What's your name? Where are you from?
my name is Antoine, I'm from France.
And my name is Clem and I'm from France too.
How long have you been in Korea?
We've been here for about 2 years now.
Years.
Yeah, 2 years. We've been together, we're a couple. Boing, boing.
That was very synchronized. That's good.
We are.
Yeah.
Why did you come to Korea? What brought you here?
We just wanted to live in Asia, in a nice country, and we've both been to Korea before as a tourist separately, and we just really loved it so much that we said, oh yeah, let's do a working holiday visa here and just have a good time.
So you did a bunch of traveling solo, and then you guys met each other, and you were talking, hey, let's experience this as a couple, and you decided on Korea.
Yes.
That's really cool. Before coming to Korea, your preconceptions, what were you expecting? I'm curious how that's different from actually living here.
I had no expectation of Korea, like culturally or anything, just like what I've seen from those movies only, like Old Boy and Mother and The Wailing and like all of these like creepy movies, and that was my experience. And I was like, I want to see the countryside, I want to see scary stuff, and so I was expecting more of like a southeastern country.
Southeastern Asia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I arrived, I was really prepared. I was expecting jungle, and like I arrived in Incheon, so I was with my backpack, and I was like, okay, let's go to the main city. And it was just like a 1 hour like subway ride. I was like, oh, okay. So
Yeah.
I should have brought some clothes actually, and not just like tech wear.
Yeah. So you didn't need all that sunscreen, that machete to cut down the
Anti-leech
grass,
stuff and everything.
anti-leach stuff. You didn't need it.
No, I didn't. I even had the pouch like you put under the clothes and everything that some people gifted me. They were like, "Oh, you're going to Korea? Like, what is going on?" Because like no one knew in my family, and
Sure.
coming here, just had a really good time of just hanging out, and like the cafe culture and everything was so lovely. Like, okay, it wasn't like the tropical, like dangerous jungle trip I was expecting for some reason, but I really enjoyed it. I was like, oh, we will love it together because you didn't have the same experience as me too.
No, from me it was a bit different because I am half Japanese. So when I arrived there as a student a couple years ago, I was kind of like trying to find the little thing, oh, Japan is better for this, and I was really trying to find a way to dislike Korea, to say, oh, Japan is better for that, and it's better for that, oh, 7-Eleven, oh, we have the same in Japan and everything. And actually, the more I stayed here, the more I realized that, actually things are nicer here. The cafe culture, the streets, vibe and everything. So I think I like Korea now more than I like Japan.
That is so interesting. What made you just want to compare those two? Is there like some competition? Like,
I guess.
Japan is better, no, Korea is better.
Yeah, I guess, there's historically always been like some kind of a
Tension.
thing between the two of them.
Tension,
yeah, some kind of tension. War.
Some call it war, or conversation, but
exactly.
yeah.
And so I guess there was a part of pride in me, like, oh, I'm Japanese, I arrive here and I will try to find all the negative things about Korea. And I could not find that many of them. So I was
You
like,
failed on your quest.
sorry, I'm sorry.
Shame of the nation.
Cool. So you speak English, obviously. Do you speak French? Do you speak Japanese as well?
No, just a little.
Just a little bit.
Just a
okay.
little bit,
What can I?
Hey, what's going on? What's your name? Where are you from?
Hey, I'm Henry. My friends call me Henry the Drip. The Drip is my name, and
Got that drip on.
I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah.
How long have you been in Korea?
I've just been here like 3 or 4 days, and I'm leaving tomorrow. Sadly, I should have planned way more time to stay here because the city is way more fun than I imagined it to be. I broke up with my girlfriend back home, and I said, "F it, I'm going to Asia."
Just like a crazy new adventure.
Absolutely.
Just start fresh.
Yeah, I think that when you travel by yourself, you really get the opportunity to kind of set your own schedule and set your watch to the time of the universe. You know, get in tune with the place that you're at and not have to worry about anyone else's schedule or when anyone else has to eat. You just do what you want to do. So that's what I'm doing. I'm out here traveling by myself.
Heard that.
Well, what surprised me the most is I find myself socializing with a lot of people that are from outside of Korea instead of the actual Koreans. I met like a whole group of international people the first night I was out here. They kind of throw party nights with a bunch of there's like 20 international people. I found that talking to Korean people is a lot more difficult than I expected. People are really shy here when it comes to socializing. So I was hanging out with Germans and a lot of other people from different countries more. And it's surprising how international the city is.
Yeah.
For sure. And I find it super interesting that when you're on the subway, it's like completely silent.
Yeah.
No one is talking to each other. People are just going about their business. Definitely a lot less loud and rambunctious than where I'm from. People are much more respectful and kind and at least like a general level of respect.
Hey guys, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
Hi, I'm Solène, I'm from France.
And my name is Camille, I'm from Belgium.
The atmosphere is good, people are nice, food is good.
Yeah.
Everything, like the streets are the same as in the K-dramas, I
Yeah.
guess. And
So-
also in the same building you have different stuff.
Yeah, also
Yeah, these big buildings, right?
big buildings, and you have you can go to the hairdresser or you can go to the cafe, but it's the same building.
Yeah, cafe,
Which is weird.
foot doctor,
Yeah.
hairdresser, yeah.
It's great.
Internet provider, yeah. Very convenient, yeah. Is that not the same in Belgium?
No, not at all. In Belgium, one building, one purpose. But I'm
Separated?
not complaining. I'm very happy to be
Yeah.
here.
Hey, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Ludmila and I come from France. I'm a full undergraduate from Yonsei University.
Yeah. How long have you been in Korea?
2 years actually. I came to South Korea with my older sister that already been in South Korea like
yeah?
for already a few years. So I kind of knew of what to expect because like there's a bit culture gap between the French and the Korean one.
Sure.
So obviously people are more like poker face, like they don't
Yeah.
really like their expression, and in France we do it a lot, and also the street and everything. Whenever I meet Koreans, it's like I get friends with Korean that went overseas. It's like they at least travel to a foreign country, and it's much easier to get friends with them than Korean that always stay in Korea.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know, like maybe they're more close-minded, like they have like expectation is so different. Like there's a big gap between those that went to a foreign country and those that didn't.
Yeah.
They know how to approach foreigners better. It's like their approach of foreigners like less close-minded than Korean. Yeah, and also like I saw my older sister, she's also working in a Korean cosmetic company, and right now she's so much struggling.
Hey, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
Hi, I'm Gemma. I'm from England.
Yangguk Namja, the Korean Englishman, is he famous in England?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love them. Yeah, the channel, watch it a lot.
Oh yeah?
I think actually it's so much better than we expected. I was a little bit worried about how we'd be received. I know some of the cultural aspects are a bit different, so we researched a lot around that before we came. But actually everyone's been so welcoming, so helpful, and everyone will like talk to you, and it's been so much better than we thought it was going to be.
What were you worried about exactly? I'm curious.
I just heard that some people had had some negative experiences, or like maybe not being allowed into certain places, or kind of they felt that they were looked at or judged a bit more.
Stared at.
Yeah, but I think our experience has been entirely positive, and everyone's been so nice to us.
Amazing. Hey, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Illy. I'm from Amsterdam, Netherlands.
What are you doing in Korea?
Currently, I'm just visiting, just sightseeing, going around. I'm with two friends from Amsterdam.
Have you ever been to Korea before?
Yeah, actually, I spent half a year here studying at Chungang University before COVID. I'm currently living in Shanghai, yes.
So it's interesting, maybe now you can compare your experience in Korea and Shanghai.
I feel like Korea is a bit more westernized
Yeah.
in a way. Obviously, it's been more open to the world in a sense, but Shanghai is definitely international as well. There's a lot of stuff that you can find here, it's over there as well.
But in China, like you can't use YouTube, you can't use Facebook. Is that true? Like, how do you go about your life in China without the use of these really important like websites and apps?
It's true that you cannot use them. but it's also true that you can use them using a VPN. So
Everybody does that.
yeah, I would say everyone knows about it. I'm not sure if everyone does it, but yeah, I do use a VPN, and
Even Chinese people.
I don't want to call out anyone, but yeah.
You about to get your friends in trouble.
No, I don't. No, I mean, everyone knows about it and they use it and they get access to these websites, but it's just not. They have their own thing, you know. They have their own world, like WeChat and Bilibili. All these things are maybe even bigger than YouTube and Instagram themselves. So I feel like they don't really need those things.
Hey guys, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Lizette and I'm from the US.
My name's Kaylee and I'm from the US also.
Cool. Where in the US are you guys from?
I'm from California.
Yeah.
I'm from Virginia.
Like at school specifically, like we notice that there's people that brush their teeth in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And like at my university, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So,
like after they eat or something.
Yeah, and the hair rollers everywhere. It's definitely different.
Hair rollers everywhere, like on the subway, like.
Yeah, it's like back home it's like kind of embarrassing. Here they have no shame, but I mean I love it, so.
Or they get ready like while they're on the bus, and that's normalized. Whereas I think back home, I don't think that'd be as normalized.
I'm curious, like, why would that be embarrassing?
Back home, like you either go out like without makeup already, or you just don't go out, or like I think it's just like more set in stone, like what you want to do, as opposed to like doing it while you're going
in the middle.
Yeah. And I think also some people back home are like a little bit more judgy about it. Here I feel like they don't care too much because I think the beauty standard here is pretty high, so it's not a big deal. Back home people care, like they'll definitely judge you the wrong way. Like they'll be like, oh, what do you need to get ready for?
Like you're trying too hard.
Yeah.
What do you guys do here?
I'm a baker.
Baker.
Yeah, I'm a baker.
And I'm a developer.
I kind of guessed that. I don't know. Just the glasses.
Sorry. She's a half developer as well.
Yeah, I'm a developer
Okay, so
too.
you're also
the glasses.
Yeah,
as
the
well,
glasses.
you know.
Do you see yourself like living in Korea long term?
We don't want to spend our life here because I think the working culture and the school thing is like a big negative for us.
Stressful.
Yes, and we want to have a kid at some point, so we don't feel like raising him or her in Korea.
Yeah.
So we're just thinking about it. For now, we're just going with the flow. Yeah, just
vibing,
enjoying.
Vibing,
Yeah,
just
as long
vibing.
as we can stay, we're staying here, and when we'll have to leave, we'll leave. For now, we don't want to leave, so let's just not leave and stay.
Let's not leave. That's our mindset is let's not leave.
Cool. You should definitely come to Korea if.
You should definitely come to Korea if you want to experience a culture that's different than yours, see some awesome temples, if you're trying to travel on a budget.
You shouldn't come to Korea if.
You shouldn't come to Korea if you're a racist. No, I don't know. I have no idea. Everyone should come to Korea.
We got a friend here.
How are you doing? Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Alejandra. What is it?
Just a street interview about your life in Korea.
You should
Want to join? Okay, we got a new friend here. Where are you from?
Spain.
Spain. Hola. All right.
Hola.
So you got Belgium, Spain, France. You guys speak together in English, I guess.
English, yes. I like Korean culture. I really like it. But I feel like they are really reserved.
Okay.
So they have their own rules, their own culture, and no one else can enter in their groups. Like, go away.
So why did you originally come to Korea?
I wanted to come to Asia, and I was like between Japan and Korea, and finally I picked Korea. And I think it's really interesting to come here and live here, but not for living like for a long time.
Sure.
For 5 months, it's okay.
I know in Korea you have like this period cramp break, like you know when you can take a break for Korean cramp.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, it's super not well seen to take it as anyone, as a worker. So no one take it, but this is like a right. You can just take it and enjoy your break. So in France, we don't have the period cramps break. So coming here, like knowing we can take a break from that's like it's so amazing. Just take it, enjoy it. This.
What if girls are just like, oh, period cramps? How do you know when they're like being honest?
You don't. I don't know. You're not.
You already said that once this week.
Yeah.
Could you see yourself living here long term?
Honestly, I don't think so. I think I miss my home too much to like be fully integrated here. But I would consider it maybe like for a year or two. My family's from Mexico, so they're more of a collectivist culture. So I feel like it's a bit different, like those like social connections where you get to know the person more, or like just have more, I guess, like intimate family gatherings, or like even with friends.
Yeah.
And I don't see myself doing that here as much. And I also do miss Mexican food. I think they just don't do it the same here. So
I could never, I mean.
Yeah, obviously. I don't think there's anything wrong here, but I do.
There's just a closeness
Yeah, exactly.
with Mexican culture, like hugs and like this type
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah.
I've heard people say that before.
Yeah, exactly. Like definitely I don't see like the way I interact with like my Mexican friends back home, how I interact with my friends here, the same.
So when I first came to Korea, I didn't speak any Korean. I had to teach myself Korean. I started learning how to read and write. Then I learned the 100 most commonly used verbs in Korean. You know, things like 먹다, 하다, 쓰다, these kinds of verbs. I eventually started listening to easy conversations, easy dialogues in Korean. And let me tell you, this was the most helpful thing I did. If you're learning English, it's really important to listen to real conversations where you can hear useful expressions, useful words, useful grammar, and natural pronunciation. That's why I made 전에 살아있는 영어. I came up with a list of extremely useful conversational English questions, answers to these questions, and other expressions. I explain all of these expressions in detail in Korean. I give you several example sentences showing you how to use the expressions, and then, this is the best part, I go out into the streets and interview extremely fluent and native English speakers using these expressions so you can see in real time, living, breathing English, how it's used and how to respond naturally to everything. This is the course I wish I had when I was studying Korean. This course is perfect for people preparing for working holiday, studying abroad, traveling abroad, meeting foreign friends, meeting your foreign romantic partner's family. So far, people are loving it. To see a free sample lesson, click the link down below. Alright everyone, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please let me know in the comments down below. Also, if you're interested in my course, check out my website. You can get a free sample, a free 맛보기 lesson. Click the link down below. Alright guys, once again, I'm Sean, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Hey guys, I'm Sean. I'm a full-time YouTuber from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in America. I've been living here for around 10 years and I speak fluent Korean. Overall, I'm very happy with my life here in Korea. So during my time here, a lot of Koreans and foreigners too have asked me, Sean, why did you come to Korea? You could teach English in so many other countries. Why did you choose to come here? Well, buckle in and I'll tell you the story of how this kid from Philadelphia who majored in theater became a full-time YouTuber here in South Korea. Pretty random, right? Perhaps some people watching are thinking of moving to South Korea, or some Koreans watching are thinking of moving to America or another country, and you can maybe learn from my experience of living abroad. Also, for people studying English who want a bit of structure, I just released a course, 전에 살아있는 영어, but I'll talk more about that later. So let's begin. The year is 2013, and I'm about to graduate from Temple University in Philadelphia with a degree in theater. I originally wanted to be an actor because it was the only thing that interested me during university. I had taken many classes to sample different majors, and acting was the only thing that I felt like I could do. I honestly hated the forced structure of school, and I couldn't wait to get out of that environment. In addition to this, I could not see myself working in a company for the rest of my life. So respect to anybody who's working in a company right now, or someone who's found a company that they like. That's great, but I could never do that. My dream was to go to Hollywood and audition for small roles and act in independent films at first. So I acted in many plays in university and even starred in an independent student film, and I could really see myself doing this for the rest of my life. My best friend in university was a guy named Sam. He was also a theater major, and we both had the goal of being successful actors in Hollywood after graduating from university. So Sam had already graduated one semester before me, so in 2013, as I was about to graduate, he had already been living in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, auditioning for small roles and doing small part-time jobs. Just hearing the news from him about how he was always meeting cool people, seeing Hollywood stars, getting all these amazing opportunities, I was just so jealous and I couldn't wait to get started myself. So when I eventually graduated from university, my plan was to work for 6 months in a restaurant or somewhere, save up some money, and then move out to LA to meet up with Sam. So I ended up landing a really good job at a popular restaurant in the center of Philadelphia, in Center City, called the Green Eggs Cafe. And because it was so popular, I was able to make a lot of money in tips, and this was a great job for me to save up money. So at the time, acting was my passion, that and music. During my free time, I was listening to and playing lots and lots of music. I had written a solo album and was also playing music with a band called Elegant Animals, which was led by a man named Julian, who was actually dating my sister at the time. They're actually married now, so it's pretty crazy how things worked out. So now I was in this weird position where my music career was starting to blossom, which I did not at all expect. I was making decent money from this restaurant I was working in, and I was planning still to move out to LA to meet up with Sam and start my eventual career as an actor. Also, at this time, I was still recovering emotionally from a pretty difficult breakup with a girl that I really liked at the time. Saying all this now really reminds me of how chaotic of a time this was. But I guess life can be pretty chaotic when you're in your early 20s, right? So my course of action seemed pretty clear. Earn money in the restaurant, play music on the side, and prepare to move to LA. I was thinking though, I really wanted to have one last adventure before I really buckled down and focused on my career in the US, settled down, maybe meet someone and buy a house, so on and so forth. I wanted to have one last adventure. Also, up until this point, besides my 3-month study abroad experience in Rome when I was in university, I had never experienced living in another country as an adult. One day while watching YouTube, I stumbled upon some videos about people teaching English in Asia, Korea and Japan to be exact. Growing up, I had always had a fascination with Japan and Japanese culture, ninjas, samurais, anime, Miyazaki Hayao, and I think a lot of other Americans in my generation have this similar fascination with Japanese culture. So this was my first choice. I wanted to go to Osaka or Tokyo and teach kids or adults. I didn't really care, but this was my first choice. However, as I kept doing research about teaching English in Asia and Japan, videos about Korea just kept popping up more and more and more. So I watched them. English teachers in these videos seemed to really enjoy their life in South Korea. They talked about how clean and safe it was, how nice Korean people were, and how comfortable it was living in South Korea while teaching English. At the time, all I knew about South Korea was Taekwondo, Gangnam Style, esports and StarCraft 2 and the whole online gaming world over there, and the crazy guy up north. It's funny, I think a lot of Americans at this time didn't know much at all about South Korea. We forget how, these days South Korea is so popular. Everybody knows about Squid Game, BTS, just Korean culture and food. It's become more popular, but not that long ago, 10, 15 years, South Korea was pretty unknown to most people. So I eventually decided that living and working in South Korea for 1 year was the thing I wanted to do. So the first thing I did was, get my ESL certification. I studied how to teach English as a second language. I took an online course. I went to an in-person seminar in New York City. That was pretty interesting. And then I started to look for positions in different parts of South Korea. And I eventually decided on going to Chungcheongbuk-do. It was a job in Chungju City teaching at an elementary school, and according to Google, it was only 2 hours from Seoul, which in American standards is pretty close. So I imagined myself being able to, get off of work and just take a bus to Seoul, or, on the weekend, every weekend, Saturday, Sunday, maybe I could just hang out in Seoul and then just come back really easily. But in reality, that ended up not being the case. 2 hours is actually a lot farther than I imagined it would be. So I signed the contract, and my plan was to go there for a year, make some friends, study some Korean, try some new food, have an interesting experience, come back to Philadelphia, then make my preparations to go to Hollywood, to go to LA and become a famous Hollywood actor. Sounds like a perfect plan, right? I came to South Korea in July of 2014, and my life in Chungju was great. It was really peaceful, there was lots of nature, and the air quality was really good. And more than anything, it gave me a lot of time to just walk down empty streets while listening to music and just think. Just enjoy the emptiness, the calmness of Chungju, which was like just a much smaller city than Seoul, so far more peaceful and just calm. My co-teachers were really kind, and the kids I was teaching were really easy to teach. They were just lovely kids. Well, most of them were. In Chungju, I had a great routine of preparing my lunch in the morning, going to the gym at around 9 a.m., having my workout, then heading to my work, my school, to eat my lunch and prepare my classes. I would then teach kids from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. How are you?
How are you?
How are you?
I'm so good.
So good.
So good.
And then I was done. Some days I would even walk to work from my house and listen to music along the way. Overall, life was really simple and just peaceful here. I made lots of really cool friends here in Chungju during my first year, and even started a once-a-week board game night with other English teachers in Chungju. We would order pizza, have some beers, play Settlers of Catan, and talk loads and loads of shit against each other. Also, during this time, I was listening to and playing lots and lots of music, and during my first 3 months in Chungju, I actually wrote an album, a full album. I'll play a little bit for you guys right now. After I produced this album though, I was kind of tired of the songwriting process and I needed a break to recharge my creativity. I wanted to challenge myself by learning something new, and I thought, well, since I'm living in Korea, I might as well learn Korean, right? I studied and learned the alphabet during my free time at home and during my downtime at work. I made a list of the 100 most frequently used verbs in Korean, I studied them, and I had my Korean co-teachers quiz me. I would challenge myself by listening to and studying Korean dialogues on YouTube, by talking with taxi drivers, and of course by talking with my Korean coworkers and my kids too. As my one-year contract was coming to an end, I had made a surprising amount of progress with my Korean skills. I was able to have very basic conversations in Korean and take care of pretty much all of my survival needs, like going to the store, going to the hospital, taking taxis, ordering stuff, things like this. I remember one time I was with some foreign friends and I was the unofficial translator of the group. I was ordering in restaurants and talking to taxi drivers, and they were just so impressed by my skills, and this felt so good. I loved this feeling of personal development and improving my Korean skills so much that after my one-year contract was finished, I decided to live in Korea for one more year and go to Seoul to Seok University Language School to study there, as Seok University Language School is actually famous for their speaking. A lot of people really improve their speaking by going there. And let me tell you, this was a great decision as it helped me to improve my Korean so much. Also, during my time in Chungju, I met a really interesting guy named David. David was a half Korean, half Canadian English teacher who I met in Chungju, and just like me, David had the plan of moving to Seoul after his 1 year of teaching English in Chungju was over. We both had really similar ambitions to improve our Korean, and so we eventually decided to start a YouTube channel together. So this was my first YouTube channel, and the goal of the channel was to show viewers and document our experience studying and learning Korean by putting ourselves in difficult situations where we had to use our Korean to solve problems. Some examples of these videos are talking to Koreans on a bus in Korean, small talking with them, playing board games in Korean, ordering coffee at a dog cafe in Korea, talking with taxi drivers, and just so many other quirky and fun, interesting ideas. It was a lot of fun. So my schedule became teach English at Korean elementary schools during the day and film and edit YouTube videos during evenings and on the weekends. I also taught Korean adults English at 1.2. So around this time, I was nearing the end of my second year in Korea. And just like the end of my first year, I decided to stay for one more year to continue to learn Korean and to work on my YouTube channel. It was around this point that I decided to make my own YouTube channel, the YouTube channel that I'm famous for, which is Sean Pablo. I could have more creative freedom and make videos for a Korean audience. My older videos, which had far lower production quality than today, still did pretty well. I would film lots of street interviews and test foreigners in Korea to see how well they spoke Korean. I originally filmed my videos on an iPhone and a set of headphones which I used as a mic. So I was getting some views on my early videos and this really encouraged me. So I continued to grow my channel in this way while teaching English on the side. This modest success on my earlier videos was really encouraging to me. So I made a promise to myself to upload one video every single week while teaching English on the side. This ended up being an amazing investment as I really trained myself to stay consistent and keep uploading. Fast forward now to 2018 when I uploaded a few videos that went really well, viral even, and this really solidified my status as a full-time YouTuber. Since these videos did well and since I'd recently received my permanent visa in Korea, I decided to quit my English teaching job and really just focus completely on YouTube after 4 years of living in Korea. A year later in 2019, I met my girlfriend Yoo-jung, who I've been dating now for 4.5 years. It's been amazing to share my life with her and to see both her and I together grow in our careers, our health, and our mind. Personal development has been so rewarding with her. She's definitely made Korea a much better place for me to live, and her family has always been so welcoming and loving to me. Overall, life in Korea as a full-time YouTuber is not easy as I'm constantly under stress to create and make new, more exciting videos. I still have a long way to go and I'm still very far from being rich, but I've learned ways to deal with the stress and I've surrounded myself with really amazing people, which helps a lot. To this day, I've worked with amazing companies like Bingure, Speak, and even Kupang. I've continued to improve my skills and level of video production. I've continued to study Korean and learn about Korean culture, which has further deepened my appreciation for living here in South Korea. So anyway, that's the story of how I came to live here in Korea for 10 years. It became my home and I'm so lucky to have met so many wonderful people here. By the way, Sam, who I still keep in touch with a lot, visited me here in Seoul last year and we had a blast. Also, Sam recently got his PhD in psychology in California and he's doing really well, so congrats to him. In terms of my future and what country I plan to live in, I'm still undecided. There are many factors at play and things to consider, but at the moment, South Korea is my home. There are many things I wasn't able to talk about in this video, such as how South Korea was during COVID and how I had to change the direction of my channel during COVID because I couldn't travel, how I met my girlfriend, and what happened to my old band and music career. But maybe I can cover these things in a future video, right? Let me know down below if you want to hear more about these stories. Anyway, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a lot of fun to make, and I can make more if you guys want, just let me know in the comments down below. Once again, I'm Sean, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Hello everyone, I'm Sean and welcome to the Natural Talk series.
Hello everyone, my name is Shane.
Today we're going to talk about pets and animals. Shane, are you an animal lover?
I am an animal lover, an avid one. I love them so much. My social media is full of just dogs, cats, otters.
Otters?
Yeah, I love them. How about you?
Okay, I didn't expect that. Yeah, I like animals a lot. I really like dogs. I mostly like dogs for like house pets.
Right.
Because I'm allergic to cats.
Oh no.
Yeah. I think cats are very cute, but I'm allergic to them. And cat hair makes my eyes itchy. And makes me, you know, have a runny nose.
Oh, it's a bad allergy.
It's pretty bad. But I think my allergies are slowly improving. But I'm a little bit afraid of cats.
Why?
Because I think cats will attack you and claw you and bite you, without any warning for no reason. I try to pick up a cat and put it on my leg and pet it and it's gonna bite me. I'm a little bit scared. But with like a dog, I feel like dogs are just more friendly with people. They're more open. They're more willing to play. Dogs like to play a lot. You can throw a ball with a dog. You can play with a stick and a frisbee. So I'm a bit more comfortable with dogs. Yeah. I guess, do you like dogs more or cats, or you like them both?
I like them both.
Yeah.
Keep them coming.
Yeah.
I love them both. I've only ever taken care of dogs before. Never really cats, but I have a lot of friends who have cats as pets, and I think they're so adorable, very well behaved. Contrary to what you just said, I think cats are kind of easier to keep indoors. Like, so if you live in an apartment, maybe a cat is like easier to take care of.
True.
Because I feel like for dogs, you need to, they need to go on walks, run around. You need quite a bit of space to take care of them. Although I do really want a pet dog sometime in the future. But yeah, I love them both so much. And I'm not allergic to either of them, thankfully. So I can just choose which I want in the future. Maybe get one for myself.
Nice. Do you like big dogs or small dogs more?
I like smaller dogs, I think. I really like poodles because they don't shed and then they smell really nice and they're very smart. And that's why I found it interesting that you said cats were dangerous, because a lot of people are scared of big dogs.
Yeah.
You can't see big dogs in Korea, like barely.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Not as many big dogs in Korea.
Yeah.
So you like smaller dogs?
I do like smaller dogs.
Okay. I like big dogs because I think dogs can be very useful too.
Okay.
Okay, why? Well, if I'm living alone and I have a nice big dog, that's like a second alarm, right?
Yeah.
If someone tries to come into my house and they see my big dog, they're gonna run away, right? If I have a baby, if my girlfriend's alone and the dog is in the house, it's like a security guard, right?
Okay.
So in this way, it's much more useful, in my opinion, than a smaller dog. I think smaller dogs are very cute, but they are not very intimidating.
Right.
Yes. And I think if you have your big dog when he or she is a puppy, then they will trust you and you will trust them, and you won't be scared of them either.
Right.
So you'll get used to the big dog. So I like big dogs that are friendly with people, but can also fight if necessary.
Like a guard dog.
Yeah, because I think it's a very safe thing to have in your house or when you're taking a walk.
Right.
If you're taking a walk in the Philippines or in Canada or even Korea, you feel safer if you have a nice big dog with you, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
But I also don't know if I can handle walking a big dog because they're definitely heavier, stronger. Like, I'm scared I might be the one taking the walk instead of my dog.
True.
Yeah. And I think Korea is safe enough to have a small dog, not like a guard dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think if I were to get a dog here, it would definitely be on the smaller side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Easier to take care of.
Yeah, that too.
Do you like going to the zoo?
I really like going to the zoo.
Yeah. What is your favorite animal to see in the zoo?
So I used to like mammals and stuff, seeing them, but I've enjoyed seeing reptiles. So geckos and lizards and snakes. I think they're very nice to touch.
Okay. Can you touch them in the zoo?
There are some zoos, like the smaller ones, where you can just take them out of the cage and just like wear the snake or like touch like the geckos and stuff, and they feel very nice, I would say.
Wow, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, it's very, I know. It's very different, but
That's cool. It's
I
unique.
recommend. Yeah, you should try it sometime.
Ooh.
They feel very nice.
Wow, you really are an animal lover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also go, like, one of my boyfriend and I's favorite things to do is go to those pet cafes where you can just
Ooh.
touch like dogs or raccoons, or you know those pet cafes
Yeah.
here, right? Yeah, it's really popular and I love going there.
Do they have one for lizards?
No, they don't have a cafe, sadly.
You got to start it.
I'll start the business.
Yeah. Lizard cafe.
Yeah.
Cool.
Will people come?
People like you will come. Yeah. I like to go to the zoo too. I really like to see the monkeys.
Oh, the monkey.
Yeah, I like seeing the monkeys and the bears and the big cats.
Oh, the big cats.
Yeah, I like to just see them sleeping and walking around. They look so cool.
Yeah.
Like wild beasts.
Yeah.
Because they are.
That's true. They're predators.
Yeah, they like that meat.
Strong animals.
I also really enjoy watching documentaries of animals, like nature documentaries.
Right.
I recently watched a documentary about chimpanzees.
Oh.
And it was very interesting.
Any interesting facts you remember?
Yeah, chimpanzees are very violent.
Really?
They go to war a lot.
With each other?
With each other.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it reminded me of like humans 500 years ago.
Yeah.
They're like fighting each other. It was pretty crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but really interesting. Have you ever ridden a horse?
A horse I have.
Yeah.
Once in my life when I was a kid. Don't remember too much about the experience. I just know that it was a little hard for me because I was like young, so I had short legs. So I had to have someone ride behind me and support me, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, I've ridden horses before. It's fun.
You do it often?
No, but when I was a kid. Yeah.
Oh.
I've done it before, yeah.
I see.
Have you ever milked a cow?
No.
No?
Have you?
Never.
I thought you did.
No. We're just city people.
I really want to try it though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you like milk?
I do love milk.
You like cheese?
Yes.
You like cream?
Yeah. I love dairy.
Yeah? Have you ever collected eggs from a chicken?
No.
No.
Which is interesting because my family owns a farm, but I never was the one to collect the eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you?
Yes. I have one time collected eggs from a chicken on a farm. It was nothing special.
You just pick them up.
Yeah. Could you ever hunt?
Like shooting animals, hunt,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I don't think I have the heart in me to do that. I think I wouldn't be able to shoot the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I would see the animal and just stop.
Sure. But you like meat.
I do.
Yeah. All right. We could keep talking about monkeys and snakes and reptiles, but we will end it here. Thank you for talking with me today, Shane.
Of course.
Cool. See you later.
Bye.
Hey guys, how's it going? It's Sean. So in this video, I spoke with some really fluent English-speaking Koreans. All of them were able to improve their English significantly while living here in Korea. I thought this would be a really cool video to show you guys, to give you some motivation. And of course, we talked about the benefits they experienced because of their English skills while living here in Korea. Without further ado, let's begin. Hey, how's it going? What's your name? Where are you from?
Hello, I'm doing good. My name's David. I'm from Seoul, South Korea. Hi guys, my name is Jin. I'm from Korea, 100%.
Hi, I'm Laura. I'm from Korea.
I'm Seron from South Korea.
Are you really from Korea?
Yeah, I'm 100% native Korean.
Tell me something that only a Korean person would know.
나란 말씀이 둥기게 달아, and I forgot the rest, but that pretty much proves.
인증 완료.
We don't like certain country historically.
Yeah.
That's true.
별 다 줄.
What is that?
별걸 다 줄인다.
맞점?
맞점? What is that?
Nice lunch?
맞점.
맛있는 점심.
Oh, okay. What was your motivation to learn English?
Well, I have a kind of interesting story, honestly. So, yeah, I did have the blessing of going to the States when I was really young, but I only stayed there for like a couple years and I came back when I was 10 years old. So that's relatively very young, and I'm 32 right now, so I had to like maintain and upgrade my English. My motive basically was I lived in a pretty rough neighborhood. It was like pretty tough to survive over there.
In the US?
No, in Korea.
Oh.
I was in Busan, and it was nearby the harbor. People were rough over there, and there was a lot of school bullying. It's a very depressing story. Anyways, like the bullying was very harsh, and I really wanted to escape that environment. And the only option I had basically was to enter a foreign language high school, which is like a highly educated, school for people. And then your basic requisites would be being fluent in English.
No way, that's so interesting.
Yeah, so I was like, I want to escape this environment. I want to go to a pool of people that are really like motivated to study and like get better lives and stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to do that, and I worked and I studied really hard. Worked on my speaking, listening, reading, all that kind of stuff. And then gradually my goal became college, for sure, as all Koreans. I had to have like English scores like TOEIC, TOEFL. And then like other than that, I think I had like a dream of becoming a diplomat at that time. In order to achieve my goal, I need to work hard on my English. So that's how I kind of grinded.
I started learning English because I find it really fun, and I just want to know what other people think about Korea. It kind of gives me a joy when I watch my favorite artists doing an interview in English, like Jay Park, Rose from Blackpink, and RM, his English phenomenon, even though he's a 100% Korean. And I just wanted to have a conversation with a lot of people all around the world in English.
Yeah. From Disney movies to Barbie dolls to those classic Olsen sisters, I was soaking English in English without even realizing it. And I wanted to keep that English spark alive. I guess that was my first motivation.
Yeah, I was into British English. I graduated in classical music composition, so I was in music university. I thought I couldn't get by if I just study only music, so I studied language. That was English.
Was that in school or was that like in your free time?
In my free time. It was for my future.
So you're living in Korea now, speaking English fluently. How does that benefit you and your life here in Korea?
Yeah, so luckily I was hired for the role of Korean language coordinator for a really big channel. Pretty much everybody would know. So what I do there is basically I get the English video first, and then the company does like the transcription and everything, and then they localize it into Korean. There's a whole dubbing staff, there's a whole like subtitling staff. My job is to catch the nuances and polish the expressions into a more Korean-friendly expression. So like, it's not like Google Translate or textbook English or Korean. So I try to mix in like Gen Z words or like internet slang, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And that's really cool because you're using both your English and your native Korean skills to earn money online.
Exactly.
You're digitally working. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's a really blessed position, I think. Like I'm living the digital nomad life. It's fully remote.
After learning English really seriously, money kind of follows me, even though I don't go after money. But money is always there. So I like the fact that it helps me financially and my career, getting a job, everything. Despite the fact that I didn't go to prestigious college and university in Korea, I got an offer for a conglomerate in Korea. So I made it to 5th interview. It was an Amazon, believe it or not. So I was really happy. It was motivating and it was encouraging me, like really, really, really good.
As a creator, I could make more and more creative content. I could write some songs in English as well.
Yeah, your YouTube content is awesome.
Oh, thank you so much.
American.
British.
My sister.
My brother.
Stop talking posh.
Stop talking posh.
Hello.
Pillow.
Pajamas.
Pajamas.
Yeah, you play around with like British English versus American English a lot. do funny little like skits, but they're really fun to watch.
Thank you.
When I worked for a company, I got like so many opportunities to meet so many people out there, you know, for business trips and global events. I was the only one who could represent the company to a global audiences and stuff. So yeah, that was a very good eye-opener for me.
You're a YouTuber and you have a foreign audience.
Yes, I do.
So you're sharing Korean culture, Korean language, just how people are living here in Korea with the foreign English-speaking audience.
Yes.
So that'd be probably really hard to do if you didn't speak English.
That's true. Like I still have to filter inside my head. Like I don't think in English. I actually think in Korean, and then I go through a round of filtering. That's why I might, stutter a little bit.
그렇군요.
네, 그렇습니다.
I'm a private English teacher. I run a lot of one-on-one classes in English. I teach a lot of financial workers, and I teach a lot of people like job seeker, those who are willing to work for a foreign company. My aim is to help them speak in a business way and formally, yeah, that's my goal. And there's a lot of English tests in Korea, like OPIC, TOEIC speaking. So I've got like high score for both exams, so I can teach them too. DM me if you want to get my lesson.
Okay.
I could have more opportunities in Korea as I'm working at an English academy. If I didn't study English, then I couldn't work here.
So when you were studying English, what worked really well for you?
I try to immerse myself to English-speaking environments. And what I did is that I try to study my field in English. It helped me not only deepen my understanding and knowledge, but also improve my English skills.
And what is your field of expertise?
Marketing and business.
Just listen to a lot of podcasts.
Which ones do you like?
BBC podcast.
Oh, okay, because you're the British English kind of enthusiast. Yeah.
Yeah. And I watch vlogs, not the movies or drama. I think you should watch vlogs in English. It's very useful to learn everyday English.
First of all, I think this is a generic answer, but definitely hanging out with foreigner friends, English native speakers. Like it just forces you to practice, and you have to think constantly. It's not just like reading by yourself, listening by yourself. You have to do all of that simultaneously, and then you need to have like a human interaction going on. So you need to like adapt to any kind of situation. That just pushes you to the next level. And then the second one would be definitely like indulging yourself into some kind of English content you like. In my case, it was like watching, American dramas like Walking Dead, Breaking Bad. Those are my favorite ones. And I just like naturally grabbed some kind of vocabulary or some kind of expressions I've never heard of in like textbook English when I was in Korea. So that really just enhanced my level.
So no matter where you are, regardless of your English level, you got to talk to yourself. For example, I wake up speaking to myself like, oh, what should I do today? What do I want to eat for lunch? And every time I just walk around, I speak to myself. I talk to myself about like the sign, the people, and the coffee. I put myself in a lot of hypothetical situations. So let's say I'm just walking around here in Hongdae and a lot of pedestrians ask me for a direction. And let's say they are Canadian. So let's say I speak English. Oh, your destination is Hongdae Station, so you got to take this way and cross diagonally, like just like this. I put myself in a place where I have to speak with Rose from Blackpink or J Park. That sounds crazy, but I do that a lot, like hypothetical situations.
Like speaking English in front of Koreans.
Oh, okay.
Do you think there's like a negative nunchi?
I mean, you get those stares a little bit.
I don't think people necessarily dislike it, but I do feel a little bit of pressure to keep my voice down a little bit, lower the volume. Some people perceive it as showing off.
A lot of people are actually very jealous and they like envy the ability to speak English very fluently. Yeah. So they're really like, sometimes very surprised when they hear like a Korean looking person speaking fluent English.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's anything out of like spite in a good way. Yeah, they're very motivated. I want to be like that person. Like, oh, I wish I had those English skills.
Speak it out. Why not?
Don't worry about other people.
Yeah, you're living your life, right?
I think English is also a really safe choice too. Like, if you're not sure what to do in your life, and you're from Korea or Japan or somewhere in Europe, and you're like, what do I do? I'm not sure. It's probably always a safe choice to learn English because you can apply it for business, for living abroad, for traveling, working in foreign companies. It's a super useful skill. It sounds like you really like to travel. You have a lot of foreign friends.
I do.
Where do you see yourself living your life? Do you want to continue to live in Korea or abroad or where?
Well, I like to travel, especially America and Canada, but yeah, I want to stay in Korea. It's not because of my family or my friends. I just like the fact that Korea is one of the safest country and fastest growing markets in the world, in Asia too. So I guess there's a lot of option. Well, a lot of people are skeptical. People talk about negative side of Korea, but yeah, it is what it is.
Possible to learn English in Korea, yes or no?
Yes.
100%?
100%.
1000%?
1000%.
Million percent?
Million percent.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, David. Everybody, check out his YouTube channel.
It's Korean Pizza Club or DKDK TV.
It's great content. All right, guys. See you later.
Bye.
Follow him on Instagram. And thanks again, Jin. And I'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Follow her on YouTube. And thank you so much. See you later. See you later. Bye. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Did you enjoy this video? If so, please let me know in the comments down below. Also, if you're interested in my course, click the link down below. Once again, I'm Sean, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Hello, everybody. I'm Sean, and welcome to the Natural Talk series.
Hello, everyone. I'm Shane.
Cool. Today, we're going to talk about seasons. Shane, what's your favorite season?
My favorite season is autumn, fall. How about you?
I like spring and I like fall, but I think everybody likes spring and fall, right? Yeah.
The middle ones between summer and winter where it's too hot and too cold.
Right.
I think that's why people like spring and autumn. But I personally like autumn because of all the colors, the warm colors, like orange, yellow, brown. I think it's very cozy.
You mean the colors of the leaves on the trees?
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, it's very nice, relaxing, good for pictures.
Yes.
I like summer a lot though too because you can do a lot of fun things in the summer.
Yeah.
You can go to the beach, you can go hiking, you can go bike riding, and it feels cool, the wind on your face. You can do so many activities, play sports, go to festivals, wear really just light clothes. It's not heavy. It's easy and fun to travel in the summer. I really do like the summer a lot.
Oh, I see.
But the problem is, it's too hot in Korea.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
During the summer.
It's humid too.
Yeah.
Very humid, makes you feel sticky, and like when you sweat, it just doesn't come off your skin.
What's your favorite thing to do in the fall? Why do you like the fall so much? Just besides the
scenery?
The scenery, yeah.
I think hiking in the fall is very beautiful. Like hiking and the mountains are all different colors. I think hiking is best done in the fall for sure. Plus, like, it's not too hot and not too cold. You're not sweating as much as you would in the summer. And when you go up to the top, it may be a little chilly, but it's great for resting after the long hike, eating something at the top. It's great.
That's a great point. Is your birthday in the fall? When is your birthday?
My birthday is like beginning of fall, September 8th.
Okay.
So like in the middle of summer and fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I think it's really nice.
Nice. Yeah. My birthday is also in fall. It's in November.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The end of fall.
Yeah. So on my birthday, it's usually fall and it's like really cool. As you said, the leaves are beautiful in different colors. Between summer and winter, which do you dislike more?
I would have to say winter.
Winter. You dislike winter the most?
Yes.
In Korea?
Yes. It used to be summer, but I realized from this winter, the days are too short. And I really like sunlight. So it's too short. It makes me feel a little sad because it's always dark and it's really cold. So it makes me want to stay in more.
For me, winter's just boring. You can't do much.
Yeah.
You can't go outside when it's super cold.
Yeah.
And you have to wear this big jacket.
Heavy.
It's heavy, it's sweaty, it smells bad. And to go where? To go to a mall, to go to a cafe. Like, winter, I think, is definitely my least favorite season. I think snow is very pretty. And it's nice to see, like, the mountains and the nature when, you know, it's snowing.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to do in the winter?
I like going to the spa, the 찜질방, in the winter. I think it's a very nice way of kind of getting that heat in, going in the sauna, and then maybe having a hot bowl of ramen at the spa. I think it's a very good way to kind of, I guess, you know, get in that heat inside you.
Yeah.
During the cold winter months.
Yeah.
I think it's a very fun way.
I love that answer. That's a great answer. The sauna and the spa during the winter time is a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Because everything is inside.
Yeah.
So you can go in the hot tub. You can go into the sauna. You can then put the clothes on, relax, have a snack, go into the relaxation room,
Yeah.
take a nap. Maybe watch a movie, play some games. That's a great one. In the winter, I like going sledding.
Sledding.
Yeah.
Not skiing, like sledding.
Sledding, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just more relaxed. Skiing and snowboarding, it's too intense.
Right, yeah.
It's gotta like buy a ticket and go up this lift. Sledding, you just go to your neighborhood park. Just sled. Ice skating is fun too.
Oh, ice skate? I can't ice skate.
No?
I don't know how.
Cool. How about summer? What's your favorite thing to do in the summer?
Summer, I like going to the beach. I like swimming in the summer, but not necessarily in the beach. Because sand just gets everywhere, I think. It's very
In your
hard
toes
to take
and
off.
in your clothes and your bag.
Yeah. So I like swimming in swimming pools by the beach.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Little cheat code.
Sure. Philippines has beautiful beaches, right?
Yeah.
Some of the most beautiful beaches in the world, right?
Yeah.
For me in the summer, I also really like going to the beach. I like, just swimming in the ocean. I like drinking coconuts.
Ooh.
Love it.
I love those.
You got good coconuts in Philippines?
Yeah. You just drink it right off the coconut.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, you can just cut it open.
You open it and then you put a straw and you sip it.
I love it. I love it. So fun to do in the summer. I like riding a motorcycle or a scooter in the summer. Feel that cool wind on your face. I really enjoy summer nights.
Oh.
Yeah, you could take a walk outside in the summer, drink a cool beer, and just enjoy the atmosphere. Right. But the only problem with summer is bugs.
Oh, I was going to say, I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
You said summer nights, all I could think about was mosquitoes.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely the worst part of summer. The bugs.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Do a lot of mosquitoes come into your apartment right now in the summer?
If they do. And I'm also very prone to getting bitten by mosquitoes. They love how my blood tastes, I guess. Like, in the summer, I would be covered in mosquito bites all the time. So I always have like the anti-mosquito like spray thing. I always have it on me during the summer.
Do you eat a lot of fruit?
Yes.
I heard that mosquitoes like people's blood if they eat like fruit and particularly bananas.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh no.
I don't know though. I mean, I don't know if it's true, but it's a fun thing to talk about. Cool. So we have fall, winter, summer. What about spring? What is your favorite thing to do in the spring?
Spring, I love going to parks.
Ooh.
Yeah. And my grandma, my Korean grandma, lives in Ilsan. And Ilsan is known for their flower festival. So it's very pretty during the spring. Yeah, so I always go there, visit, see all the flowers. And yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do in spring.
I was going to say something very similar. In Korea, the cherry blossoms
Yes.
are beautiful in the spring.
That's true.
I also really like the spring because it's the end of winter. It's finally, the weather is getting warmer.
Right.
It's getting nicer. You can take your jacket off. You can go hiking again. Yeah, so spring is like a really nice, refreshing time, a refreshing change compared to the winter.
Yeah, you see the trees come to life and it's so pretty.
Right. Is there anything bad about the spring that you don't like?
Not me personally, but a lot of my friends complain about spring allergies. All of the pollen, the dust. People start getting colds and sick and they start sneezing during the spring sometimes. I don't have allergies, thankfully, but a lot of my friends suffer from that.
That's a great point. Allergies. Yeah, because you've got the flowers, the trees, and the pollen.
Yeah.
And it's just in the air and you're getting it in your eyes and nose and you're breathing it in. Yeah. Some people are very sensitive to this pollen.
Yeah.
How about you? You're fine with it?
I'm fine.
Wow, you're a lucky duck.
Very lucky, healthy.
All right, well, I think that's enough about seasons. And thank you so much for listening, everyone. I'm Sean.
And I'm Shane.
All right, take care. See you later.
Thank you.